to Trump and sends 26 top cartel fugitives wanted by the U.S. authorities to the U.S. in a major deal. Donald Trump is winning once again. Boom! Another win. Another one. And another one. That's what Officer Tatum says, right? See there on Officer Tatum's channel? He says, boom! Another win. Who is Officer Tatum? Officer Tatum is state media. His job is to keep the population in line with whatever the government wants them to believe, right? The government is doing things, and the government wants the people to think that it's, doing great things. That is Officer Tatum's job, right? He basically works for the government. He might as well be a government operative, right? If Trump screws up and he wants to pretend like he's actually winning, Trump can say anything, no matter how lame it is. And all Officer Tatum is going to do is he's going to go ahead and blast it out to his followers. Right? Do you think for a second that when Officer Tatum gets any information about Trump did something, Trump had a win? He's winning. You think Officer Tatum thinks to himself, okay, what exactly is this? What actually happened here? Is this legit, or is this the politicians manipulating us, right? In America, people say they don't believe in politicians. They don't trust politicians. They lie, they manipulate, right? But it almost seems like propagandists like Tatum, they only apply that to, politicians in the other party, right? Or if there's politicians in the party they vote for that are calling out the corruption of that party, then all of a sudden there's skepticism, right? If I'm a Republican and I call out Trump on corruption, if I call out other Republicans on corruption, Officer Tatum will be skeptical about me, and he'll call me out and anything he can find that I did wrong. Oh, this guy, don't listen to him, or whatever, right? But if I'm actually myself being corrupt, right, Officer Tatum has nothing to say because I'm a Republican, right? I can do as much as I want to do, screw over my voters as much as I want. Officer Tatum doesn't care. The minute that I go and call out corruption in the Republican Party, that's who gets attacked, right? You saw the same thing with Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder. The main time that they call out Republicans are when the Republicans are calling out the Republican Party for their corruption. And in a serious way, right? Because there's this fake, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who says, something like these federal workers shouldn't be getting paid or something like that. But she's a federal worker herself, right? She's almost talking like in a third person, like, you talking about yourself, lady. So what actually happened? This Mexico caves to Trump, right? I'm going to explain to you how it works, how it is very easy to fool people in this country. We have a lot of sheep in this country. So if you're a conservative and you see breaking news, right? Mexico caves to Trump and sends 26 top cartel fugitives wanted by the U.S. authorities to the U.S. in major deal, right? You don't question this. You don't look into it. You just like, all right, Trump is winning. And you post it out and you say, boom, another win, right? And the thing about it is, if you're watching Tatum, you're probably a sheep. Very likely you're a sheep. So just like Tatum, you don't question this. You don't try to understand, like, what does this actually mean? They caved? In what way? Like, did they actually cave? Like, what does he mean by they caved? What actually occurred? Right? You don't have any interest in that. No curiosity. You repeat this to other people, though. You say, what about the cartel members that Trump got because of the tariffs or whatever, right? Then they say sends 26 top cartel fugitives. Sends them? What does that mean, sends them? Sends them from where? Right? Did Trump say you need to crack down on these drug dealers or whatever, and then they went out and captured them and sent them over? Or were they captured already? Right? So here is the reality. And before we get into that, let's note that this got 9,000 likes and 1,000 comments. Right? That's how easy it is. Trump posts out some BS, right? You don't question it. you don't really want to know. You just want to get those views and engagement. You want to get those 9,000 likes. So you just share it, right? And then your sheep audience, again, they don't question it. So if you let's look at the comments on this video. So you look at the comments on this video, the Mexican government is the cartel. You know what this tells me? Mexico is perfectly capable of handling problems themselves, but refuse to do so. If you're a conservative, the way you see this is, so I may not like everything that Trump does, right? But, I live in reality, unlike the liberals who just watching like mainstream media. And here's an example of, you may not like Trump's policies, but they work. Look at this. We just got 26 cartel members off the street. Now, they didn't say that, by the way. But your brain is going to, and that's the beauty of like being vague. Like, Tatum's not going to do a deep dive and explain to you what happened and what the circumstances are. He's just going to repeat and regurgitate what the government tells him, right? The government says something, Tatum repeats it. That's how it works, right? So this person believes that Mexico is finally shaping up because of Trump. She's part of the problem. They handed over rival cartel members. Okay. It's amazing how the Mexican government can't do anything to these cartels until they were given the choice of them doing something or we do something. So if you read all the comments here, the basic message is that essentially Trump won, and through his negotiating art of the deal, he actually got Mexico to take this stuff seriously, right? So a typical conservative is going to say, listen, man, Trump actually cares about this stuff. And he's trying to keep Americans safe. Like, he's actually fighting for America, right? He may be a little bit rough on the edges. He's a little aggressive. But this is what you get when you're aggressive, right? You get other countries to do things like this, which is like, yeah, get these cartel members off. Here's the reality of what's actually happening here. So a bunch of sheep in here, once again, they believe Mexico did something because of Trump. The reality is Mexico already captured these people. That's where they're sending them from. So the only thing that's really happening here, the main thing that's happening here is, instead of the Mexican citizens housing and feeding these cartel members, now your tax dollars are going to go to housing and feeding these cartel members, right? But think about this. Tatum's audience believes that Mexico doesn't care about the cartel and they let them just run rampant. And because of Trump, now all of a sudden, now we got cartel members. No. The Mexicans already had these guys in prison, right? The Trump administration negotiated a deal to send them over here so that you can pay for their food and housing, right? But let Officer Tatum tell it, Trump is winning, right? So the reality is, number one, Mexico has been cracking down on these cartels, which is how they ended up in prison in the first place. Number two, even the deal of sending them over, like, this is the thing that Trump does. He looks at something that is normal, that's been happening, and he acts as if, like, because of him, blah, blah, blah. They sent over cartel members in February before the trade war, right? So if we want to think, oh, the trade war is working. That's the thing. It's like, deals are always being made. Deals have been being made for decades, right? Arrangements and whatever has been happening in other countries for decades. But all Trump has to do is, since he's been doing a trade war, is highlight a deal as if it's because of the trade war, and a bunch of sheep will just be like, yeah, Trump is winning, right? Again, something was happening before under Biden. Something was happening before, even under Trump, right, with no trade war. The same thing is happening now under the trade war, and for some reason, it's connected as, oh, it's because of the trade war. And that's because that's how our brains work, right? If you like Trump and you believe in Trump, you don't want to be find out that you're a fool or you've been tricked or you've been scammed, right? So your brain is going to automatically try to connect anything that avoids that reality that maybe you were scammed and maybe Trump lied to you, right? So you hear a lot of people saying Trump's a fraud and he's just scamming people or whatever, right? And that's an uncomfortable truth, right? So when Tatum posts on his channel that, hey, um, Trump is winning because he got these cartel members, your brain automatically like, yeah, Trump stopped these cartel members, even though that's not what Tatum even said, right? Nobody said that, right? Um, we were able to get these cartel members or without a trade war. Joe Biden was able to get cartel members. Deals have been being made for a very long time. There's nothing to see here. But this is why I told people before Trump got elected that, once he won the election, I said, listen, Trump is going to, at the end of the 4 years, a lot of his voters are going to feel like it's the best 4 years ever, right? Because no matter how bad things get, people like Officer Tatum, state media like Officer Tatum, will spin everything, right? I'm sure you subscribe to Tatum, you're hearing about these wins on a regular basis. Little do you know they're not actually wins, that he's actually tricking you. But you don't really want to know, right? Because if it's actually not true, then you were tricked, and who wants to be, realize that they were scammed, right? So Tatum just gives you that security blanket of like, Trump is winning, and you grab onto it, you hold on to it, it makes you feel good. The mainstream media is lying, liberals are lying, Trump is actually winning, and you feel comfortable, right? And you hear a bunch of talk, oh, Trump is this, Trump is that, Trump is that. And then Tatum comes in and he gives you that pacifier. He puts it in your mouth, give you this to suck on it, and he just says, oh, Trump is winning again. And you're sitting there and you're just cooing, right? And that's how it works. That's how it works for the next 4 years. Every Trump mistake is going to be spun as a win. Every Trump fake win is going to be spun as, no, it's actually a real win, right? No curiosity into investigating what he said, what actually happened, what are the details, what is the context of this deal, how is the deal arranged, is this a novel thing, was it happening before? No interest, right? You post something that says Trump is winning, and automatically, the cult members, yeah, Trump is winning, right? It's that easy. It's like the easy button. Anyway, as usual, it's BS. But because I'm not a propagandist myself, I will tell you that there is a part of this that has some level of legitimacy. But once again, you're not going to get that from Tatum, right? Tatum's not telling you anything about this. He's not telling you the bad, the fake, the manipulation. And he's not even telling you the actual good. Think about that. There's actually some good in this. But Tatum's not going to tell you that. Why is it that I'm telling you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and Tatum is just telling you the supposed good that's being presented by the government? Think about that for a second. So what's the potential good? You're not going to get this from the left-wing media. The left-wing media is just going to say it's a joke, it's a scam, right? They're not going to actually look into this. They don't really care to know the truth. It's just Trump is a moron, whatever, blah, 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 right? But I will tell you the full raw truth. The validity of this, the part of this that's good. It's not unique to Trump, again, because this has happened before under Biden, other presidents. But this is not just completely nonsense. It's not just simply Mexicans paying for these cartel members, and now you're going to pay for the cartel members. The idea behind this, and one of the ideas behind this, is these cartel members are able to operate in the Mexican prisons. So they're in the Mexican prisons, and somehow they're able to, just like actually, which happens in the U.S., and we're going to get to that in a second, but, they're able to get messages to the outside, and maybe they could order hits and things like that. So they could actually be doing stuff on the outside from the inside, right? In theory, it's harder to do so in American prisons, right? If you're local, right, you think if you're local, I'm in a prison in Mexico, the ways for me to get messages out, in theory, are easier and better. If I get sent to some U.S. prison, so now I'm in a completely different country, now I'm going to try to be communicating with people in Mexico, in theory, sounds a little bit, it could make it more complicated. So the idea would be to disrupt these cartel members because, even though they're in prison, they're still able to do stuff. Problem with that is, like I mentioned, in the U.S. prisons, people get access to the outside all the time, just like they do in Mexico. Um, this is 2025. Everything's digital, online, the internet. I really don't think, like, as a cartel member, I really don't think that it'll be that difficult to run your operations from a U.S. prison, right? You're a cartel member. I'm sure there is, you have links in U.S. prisons here that you can link up to. I mean, there's things you can do, right? So to me, there might be some benefit in terms of being disruptive to their ability to operate in prison, but I don't think it's that significant. But I'm not an expert in this, so I don't know. I'll just be honest. But from what I've heard, it doesn't sound that impressive to me. But those are my thoughts. Tell me what your thoughts are. This is the Debate Me channel. Debate Me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.